All right, welcome to Loud. I'm George Stroumboulopoulos. I'm really glad you're along for this week. Look at the album, look at the venue, look at the man. It's Glenn Danzig. Welcome to the show.
How you doing?
Good to have you here. So the album is there, Satan's Child, and the career continues for you.
Yeah.
This has been a hell of a run, man.
It's been a lot of bullshit, but also a lot of great times, you know, great shows, great records. I don't know what else to say.
Well, by the time you get on stage, or you write the record, you get on stage, that's what you want to do.
You want to do a good record first, and, you know, of course, doing a record is its own entity in itself. And then, but going on the road is, you know, you get the energy back from everybody, and you give them energy, and it's a little more special.
The band is on the road with Disturbed. You know,
Disturbed's opening up. Then there's Hatebreed for some of these East Coast shows, and 6 Feet Under's on the whole tour, all the way out. Disturbed ends in L.A. Nice. Then all the way out, 6 Feet Under's all the way out with us.
70s, 80s, 90s, now you're in the 2000s. You know, you've been on the road with a lot of bands. There's some stuff that's just stuck out for you, and you think, yeah, this is what Danzig wants to be a part of?
As far as what, you mean the bands?
Just bands that you've been playing with. 'Cause you played with everybody, haven't you?
Not everybody, but a lot of them. I mean, it's cool playing with Ozzy. The guys in Metallica, of course, you know those guys. But it was cool taking Korn out on their first tour, you know, stuff like that, and Zombie, and a lot of bands, you know, Kevin Manson, you know, that thing too. I like taking out bands I think are good and deserve to be seen, and that's about it.
Bands that are willing to put the work in.
Yeah.
Go right back to the Misfits, you know, a band that still holds so much power in a lot of people's minds. And it's funny because the songs are your songs, and you watch the Misfits today, and you think to yourself, yee, you know, this is my stuff. Those are my songs. Does it drive you nuts, or are you proud of what the guys in the Misfits are doing now?
I'm not proud of what they're doing now. I think it's kind of sad. I mean, that band broke up in '83, and then to, you know, just revive it like almost, you know, 15 years later just for a paycheck is pretty sad. I think it would have more credibility if Jerry just called it the Jerry Only Band.
Right now we're in the Phoenix Concert Theater, and get a little look around here. This is a scene from a movie, American Psycho. They use this venue, the Phoenix, in downtown Toronto. And Danzig had an opportunity to have a song on that soundtrack, right?
Yeah, they came to us and asked us if we'd put a song on the soundtrack. And at first I was like, yeah, that'd be really cool. I'm pretty picky about soundtracks. I've only done 3 so far. And then they said, well, you have to do an 80s song. And I said, that's cool. I'm sure we can pick out a great 80s song. And they were like, well, no, you have to do one of the songs we've already bought. You know, they buy the publishing for the movie. And so I was like, well, let me see the list then. That changes everything. And then we saw the list, and we weren't too happy. I was like, well, I don't know. And they're like, well, we really want you guys to do Lady in Red. And I was like, no, that's not going to happen.
Lady in Red. What song would you want it to do?
Well, actually, we did it anyway, because we were in the studio this summer. And we did Bowie's Cat People. So that'll probably be on something. We also did a cover of The Germs, Caught in My Eye.
That's right, I heard that.
So we'll see. It's either going to come out on an EP or it'll be part of Danzig 7, who knows. But yeah, but instead we did the Crow soundtrack.
That's right, the new one.
Yeah, so.
Apparently that movie's actually going to finally make it to the theaters.
Yeah, I know. They released the soundtrack earlier than the movie, but we'll see.
We're in conversation with Glenn Danzig here in the Phoenix. We'll get back with some more in a bit, but this is more Danzig on Loud.
How does it feel to treat me like you do when you laid your hands upon me and told me who you are?
I'm talking with Jay and Amir from Orgy, a couple other guys that had a hand on the new record, right?
Yeah, Jay actually is an old friend of Joey's, so that's how I'd known Jay, you know, way before even Orgy. So when it came time to mix the record, Jay's name came up immediately because he's worked, you know, on a bunch of stuff. We took Cold Chamber out on tour on Black Acid Devil, and so his name, among other mixers, came up. and him and Amir are a team, so I didn't really know Amir, but I know Jay. So we ended up giving him a shot at mixing like 7 or 8 tracks. It came out really good. I thought they did a good job.
You like bringing other musicians in?
Yeah, sometimes, especially in the mixing process. It's good to get somebody else to bounce ideas off and see their ideas. Jay has a lot of really good ideas in the studio, and I think it worked really good.
You talk about some of the old pictures that they had. I mean, obviously, in your career, there are so many different shots, you know, of you from getting off a bus.
Yeah, but I don't have any shots like that.
You were never in a band that sounded like Poison.
Yeah, no, there's no shots of me in, like, LeMay pants and stuff. There's none of that going on.
Well, I mean, you've been sticking to one, I guess, to a philosophy for a long time.
Yeah, it just keeps expanding and becoming, you know, I mean, some people call it dark. I don't really see it as dark. I see it more as a realistic view of the world and the way the world is and the way it's always been. And so that's, you know, that's kind of what I'm about. I've always been that way, you know.
You have such a loyal core of fans. Do you ever think that sometimes all the other stuff in the business, like the media and like the pictures, it gets in the way of what you're really doing, which is music?
It can get in the way if you let it, because it can become a real pain. Like the lawyers and the, you know, like I said, the BS and, you know, like here in Canada, you're lucky you have Much Music, which is an awesome show. I mean, awesome station. And in America, we have MTV, which is like in one sentence, they'll say, we can't play this video by this band or that band, and then they'll throw on a rap video with guys shooting each other and girls' butts bouncing up and down, and it just doesn't make any sense. And it's hard dealing within that system, you know?
No, although there's a great Danzig video where if you take a look at it, it's guys nailing their penises to tables. And
yeah, well, that we never offered to MTV.
What was the thinking behind a video like that?
Basically, at the time, it was just what was going on, you know?
It's kinky to some people.
Well, fetish clubs were just, you know, everywhere, and it was part of the people that come to our shows, and it was, you know, it was the whole song, It's Coming Down, which we did the video for, was about this whole world no one knows anything about. And not just that, but everything. I mean, this whole world is just like a very intense place, and when you look at the news, it doesn't really reflect everybody out there. It reflects what they want people to see the world as. You know?
Because you take a look at being out of touch and how a lot of people don't really know what's going on, and you find a way, how do the kids get the information? How do we as fans find what we want without having to go through all the other crap? And the internet is a great way now where that's sort of breaking some barriers. And we've got Glenn Danzig here. We're going to talk about the net and what you can do and the powers of the web when Loud continues. But here's more Danzig on Loud. Glenn Danzig is here on Loud. We're talking about making money. The comic books for you are successful, but
they don't make that much money.
Tell us about that.
It's more like you know, I do it for the love of it and to piss off Marvel and DC. Actually, once in San Diego was the big comic convention in, you know, America. It's like 40,000 people over 3 or 4 days.
That's huge.
So once they put our tables right by Image. And so here's the big black monster Verotic, you know, next to Image. They actually...
Satanic.
Everything, Death Dealer, you know. And so they actually told the convention they didn't want us by their tables, and they would pay for our tables if we moved 2 aisles down. So we said, sure. We took the money and we moved 2 aisles down.
Why are they afraid of you?
They just can't stand what we do. We changed the rules. We all, you know, they were playing that whole, like, nicey little comic book, you know, guys in underwear saving the world, and you read the comic and you're like, this is for geeks. This is an idiot comic, you know, I can't be around this. And we came in and just changed it all and made comics for young adults and adults. And, you know, they have it in Europe, they have it in Japan, they don't have it here in America. And we just hired all the best artists, the best colors, and came in and turned over the apple cart and just said, oh yeah? Well, here it is.
Well, it seems like you took the idea behind a lot of the D&D stuff, and you didn't lose any of the aggression in the transfer. It's the art is great, and the storyline of the concepts are so intense, incredibly violent, some of them, and easy to offend a lot of people.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
Because I'm not selling to those people. You know, I'm selling to the people who have been disenfranchised for so long.
Do you ever worry that a comic might fall into the hands of somebody who, like a kid who may not be able to?
That stuff's always going to happen. You know, there's always going to be kids outside a liquor store offering somebody $5 to buy them liquor. There's always going to be a kid who's going to go and, you know, get drugs, and his mom's not going to want him to get drugs. I mean, you can't stop that. That's growing up. That's what's called growing up and finding out about the world. You can't stop it, you know? If you're a parent, you can try and, like, be involved in your kid's life, which is what parents should be doing. You're supposed to be helping to raise your kid. If a kid has a comic book or whatever it is, you know, even if it's a book, a paperback, or if he's got a video, you know, porno video or something, maybe you want to sit down and talk to this kid and explain what it's about instead of freaking out and then calling a lawyer or something, you know. It's the world. It's not going to change.
Bands that you love today?
Bands that I don't know about love, but bands that I listen to right now, I listen to some Cradle of Filth, some stuff by Korn, a song here and there, just various stuff, whatever is really good. So many Korn imitation bands now. It's like, it's funny, I mean, but...
There's lots of Danzig imitations, too.
No one will cop to that, though.
Yeah, but usually you see it on a local level. You know, every city's got a bunch of people that were so influenced by you. Do you ever feel like, wow, man, this is all right?
I've said it, like, ages ago. I say it all the time, and people are like, well, now, you know, you've influenced this or that. How does that feel? I'm like, I'd rather they listen to me than Journey or, you know, or Bruce Springsteen or something, you know? That's what it was all about, was changing stuff, you know, especially when we come out with the punk stuff, and we were just angry and pissed off that all this corporate rock was getting so popular and so big, and radio stations would play the songs even if they were awful, you know? It was like, and, you know, we just came out and just did the full-on aggression thing, and it's still around.
A lot of people, when it comes to Danzig, forget the importance of what punk was.
They forget about that it meant being an individual, when things got boring, changing it, making it exciting again, and being on your own, not being owned by somebody, being independent and being free of all that, you know, BS, you know, and that's what it's about.
There's more Danzig on Loud.
Kids on the internet are really hip. I mean, but also, you know, the internet is like, somebody can start a rumor, and then that's it. It's, you know, it's everywhere in like an hour, whether it's true or not, you know. Like somebody started a rumor, we just heard about it last night, that we'd all gotten a flu last tour back in the fall, and we missed our Pittsburgh show. We just made it up a couple days ago. But somebody had said that we were all in the hospital. We had to be rushed to the hospital or something. It was so funny. I mean, but you know, I mean, actually, we were talking about Manson before. I heard he would go on the internet all the time and start rumors about himself just to get people...
Sure, control the information.
Yeah, just to, you know, get people talking about him, like the OD and, you know, crazy stuff.
Do your fans email you and say, hey, man, this is what's going on in each city?
No, we do a... this website started called The Seventh House, and it was just all devoted to Danzig. And so eventually, we let the guy be the official Danzig chat line. You know, so now if you go to the Danzig site, you want to go and do a Danzig chat, we let him run the actual chat line. So you go to the Seventh House, and it's just everybody talking, and, you know, people come on and talk shit, or people come on and tell you how great the shows were and everything. So it's pretty cool.
And you get on them?
I haven't gone on yet. I'm going to go on in about a week. When we get to LA, I'm going to go on and talk to everybody. I mean, but even back when I was at American, we were involved in it. I would always go on AOL, like, and say, Glenn's going to come on this day, and I would talk to everybody, and I like it better that way. This way people know, I mean, this is the other problem. People go online and say, yeah, it's me, Glenn, and blah, blah, blah. And just so you know, I don't go online and talk to people unless it's where, you know, like this kind of thing where we announce it, and then it's me.
So somebody says it's Glenn, it isn't Glenn.
It ain't me.
Too cold to start a fire, I'm burning diesel, burning dinosaur bones. I'll take the river down to Stillwater and ride a pack of dogs.
You mentioned American, great Johnny Cash record. He did your song, 13,
Yeah.
which is on this album.
Yeah.
That's awesome to have the original Man in Black do the whole deal.
You know, it was a big honor for me because I remember my dad listened to Johnny Cash, and it was one of the only records that he played that, you know...
You didn't hate.
That I didn't hate, yeah, and I liked it. And so when I got asked to write a song for him, I was just like, you know, I can't say what I said, but I said, yeah.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. And I wrote it real quick, too. So I wrote it for him. I didn't write that for me. I wrote it for him. And he did a great version of it, too. I mean, he made it his own. So then, like, when we were doing this record, Josh, the engineer, Joey and Lazy are like, you got to break out 13. And I'm like, that's not going to happen because how am I going to beat Johnny Cash, you know? So they said, no, we got to do it. So it was getting to the end of the sessions, and they're like, come on, we got to do it. And I said, well, if we do it, we got to do it the way I originally wrote it. And I wrote it as an electric song. I didn't know he was going to do an all-acoustic record. So I put all the backup vocals in there as an extra verse that he left out, and it turned out the way it is right there, which is pretty much the way I wrote it.
Born in the Soul of Misery, never had you a name.
Nope. There's a ton of bands that I want to sign. We've gotten, there's a really good band in LA that I want to sign, and then these kids just gave me a CD the other night, and it's awesome.
What's the name?
It's, I don't want to tell anyone, they'll steal the band, but they're really good. It's,
what city are they from?
Huh?
What city?
I just have their telephone number. I have to look up where it's from, but it's awesome. I mean, there's so much hidden talent out around the, you know, this whole, you know, Canada and America are connected. They're landlocked, so I'll say this whole country. It's North America. There's so much talent out there, and I mean, I don't understand why labels will sign like some crap and trying to shove it down someone's throat when there's so many great bands out there to be discovered.
That's your job now, man.
We'll see, yeah.
Thanks a lot, Jay. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Cool. Glenn Danzig, loud.